morning at Alvernon, just south of 22nd. We'll open our 100th store in Arizona. So we talk about a quick success. That took 12 years, but in our world, that's quick. This is our new Generation 3 store. This is what we've built the last 4 here. River Craycroft, Golf Links in Houghton, or I'm sorry, Wilmot and Houghton, Wilmot Golf Links, excuse me, and up at Steam Pump in Ore Valley. It's lovely, the inside of our store. Basically, as you've been in our stores, I hope everyone's been in one. We'd like to say our buildings and our sites are just basically to honor the employees. These are the people who make the difference. If you've gone in one of our stores in comparison to our competitors, the people are the difference. It's the customer service, and we make sure we take care of them. We have 15,000 employees nationwide. We have 1,500 in Arizona. So that's typically when someone in an elected position asks me, what do we contribute to the economy? That's a pretty big step.
Anyway, the rental market's been flat. Rents have actually been flat since the fourth quarter of 2010. A little bit up, a little bit down, but pretty much flat. Rents average about $630 a month. That's going to change north a little bit as we get new construction. I'll touch on that in a second. But as we get new product in the market, that rent will go up a little bit. Vacancy is about the same thing, same story anyway. Vacancy is about 9.5%. It has been 9.5% for the last 18, 24 months. I see that potentially going up with new construction. Best case, I think, will stay the same. New construction, there's a little bit over 3,000 units of conventional multifamily, either just finished or in the pipeline for the next couple of years, mostly A and probably B plus locations. If you email me or call me, I'm happy to send you a map of new construction. In addition to that, there's a little over 3,000 beds of student property that are in the pipeline. So a lot of units. I've said for years and years and years, our inventory sucks, candidly, and we need nicer, newer product. And my idea is that if you build it, they will come. So I'm actually excited about all the new construction. I think in the midterm and long term, it's great for Tucson. I think it's really good for Tucson. It may not be perfect in the short term, but it's great in the long term.
The industrial marketplace inventory stands at about 39 million square feet. Current vacancy is 11.6%. If you look at that vacancy a little bit closer, you'll find in higher tech, more improved space, vacancy is about 13%. Office service, that's included in industrial call center space, vacancy is down to 9%. There's actually been about 8 or 9 call center transactions over the past year, over 25,000 square feet. And then in manufacturing and distribution type space, the bulk of the industrial marketplace stands right at about 11.5%. Fourth quarter should be positive, ending the year at a plus 100 to 150,000 square feet.
Okay, Mr. Office Tenant. I'm glad you could join us this morning. It's that time of year where we should talk about how your life is. Can we talk a little bit about vacancy rates? Well, vacancy rates are continuing to be pretty much as they have been for the office market. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Office Tenant, thank you for bringing the Picor summary sheet. It's over here by the door as you leave. But office vacancy rates are continuing about at the same level as they have been. We saw a slight uptick this last quarter to about 12.5%. And most importantly, the lease rates are staying about the same. I think what we're seeing is that there's been reasonable absorption, but that as you go out into the market and you look for quality properties, and with that kind of a vacancy rate, you might expect that there'd be more choice. But I think what I find as I'm out looking for tenants is that the variety of properties and the quality of properties still is pretty thin. So that as you're out looking for Class B, Class A tenants, those of you that are landlords might take note. I do think there's an opportunity that we're going to begin to see that lease rates could begin to inch up a bit, even with that kind of vacancy rate.
Here's a little snapshot for year-to-date numbers. We just finished up our quarterly numbers, but you know, we've seen a little bit of improvement on vacancy overall for our city. The net absorption actually has been very, very strong if you look year to date. However, in the last quarter, we reported just slightly less than a 20,000 square foot loss of absorption. So, you know, but we're looking towards the whole year here, and we think this is really good. We've got some under construction properties, mainly that has to do with Walmart in the market. And, you know, as it relates to retail, unemployment seems to be gaining some strength here. Employment is gaining strength. And retail sales, the forecast looks like we're going to be on track for that. So let's look at vacancy rate. We've finally are seeing a trend here to a third year of a low, and we think that's going to continue, which is a positive. You know, a lot of what happens in retail happens to all relate to consumer confidence.
On the home building side, you know, everything we measure in terms of progress is with single-family permits. Year to date for the region, we're at 1,526 permits. Pima County's leading the way with 436. Marana at 385. We've really seen a lot of activity in Oro Valley. In September of 2011, they actually did 0 permits in Oro Valley. This past September, they did 33 permits, so they're up to 103 permits for the year. So that's a good sign. A lot of that is with the new Meritage community in Rancho Vistoso. So we're on track for between 1,900 and 2,000 single-family permits for the year. That's up from about 1,450 permits in 2011. By comparison, Phoenix is up about 70% from where they were last year. On the sales side for new construction, we're on pace to exceed 2011 closings. That's highlighted by A.F. Sterling's Ventana Reserve, the Meritage community in Rancho Vistoso that I mentioned. D.R. Horton's got a great community in Rancho Saurita. The median new home price is right at $220,000. That's we've seen 4 months of increase in terms of median home pricing for new construction. We're starting to see some strategic planned price increases at some of the new home communities. I think that's a positive sign. We expect those price increases to continue in 2013.
As we all know, the land market is closely linked to the home building market, and as one goes, so goes the other. You just heard David talk about the improvement in the home building market, so you would expect a similar report on the land market, and that is in fact the case. To assess the land market here in southern Arizona, it helps to take a look at the macro indicators. According to CoStar, land sales nationally through the first 6 months of 2012 were $11.9 billion compared to $9.9 billion for the same period a year ago. We are on pace nationally that could see more than $23 billion in land sales this year, which would represent the first year since 2005 that the volume of land sales has increased year over year. So going forward, the biggest threats to our home building and therefore our land market include uncertainty in the political and economic arenas, the ongoing challenge of getting buyers qualified to buy a new home, and perhaps the biggest threat of all, the stubbornly high unemployment numbers. At least some of the political uncertainty will be resolved next Tuesday. Looking on the bright side, interest rates remain at historic lows, and the resale market continues to improve, allowing home builders a better chance to sell their existing home in order to buy a new one. As long as we act responsibly, don't get crazy, and learn our lessons from the past, we can expect to be in full recovery mode in the land business over the next few years.